So welcome to my birthday. Today is my birthday, August the 9th. I published this video on this day. I've recorded it a bit beforehand because I am not available on my birthday. I'm doing fun stuff, hopefully. I'm sharing with you today the watch I bought for my birthday. I bought it a few months ago, I must say. I bought it a bit early because I have itchy trigger finger when it came to buying it. And it was the last one available at the time in the country, and it's this. It's the Sinn 104. If you want to know how I got to the final decision on to buy this watch, check out part 1 video. If you haven't seen that already, it's good to see me run through all the different options at similar prices. But now we're going to go into detail as to how good this watch is. And it's easy to review now because I've had it a while, to share with you my thoughts. And if you're considering a Sinn or you just want to know all about this watch anyway, this is the right review for you. I hope you enjoy it. But before that, there's a few stats and specs. See you in a moment. Now I know I primarily focus on value for money watches or affordable watches, but you know what? This is an example right here of when we want to treat ourselves, we're going to spend a bit more. So forgive me if you just only like watching videos that I do of affordable watches. Affordable is relative, of course. The settling in period has gone, if you will, the honeymoon period. Everyone knows the honeymoon period is the best bit. The likes are the classic styling. Sinn watches, they do a really interesting blend of this kind of classic pilot style watch, but they're not the ones that you would maybe be more familiar with, the Flieger style, Type A and Type B dials, etc. This genuinely looks like a piece of instrumentation from an aeroplane. I'm not going to give you all the history of Helmut Sinn, but effectively he used to make instruments for aeroplanes, the Germans.
The Germans?
And then he got into watch manufacturing and had a very good reputation for many years. He sold the company to another guy, and he still carried on doing consultation and other work with, I think, Ginault watches. Forgive my pronunciation. They look very similar to this, to be honest. Fantastic range of watches. I think they offer excellent value for money because they are reputed for their build quality and finishing, and you get a good specification, and it's in the sort of lower end of the affordable luxury watch category. And the finishing, I alluded to it a moment ago, and forgive my macro shots for having all the micro scratches in. I was very disorganized, and I've got so much on at the moment, I thought I'd just better polish it up for the actual review. If you see the difference between this finish now and the macro shots, the difference in say 4 months worth of wear on this watch, you get lots of micro scratches in this steel. Cape polishing cloths, Cape Cod I think they're called, fantastic at just getting all those micro scratches out. They're really small, you're really easy to buff them out. There's only one slightly deeper nick I managed to get in there, but it doesn't bother me. This is a tall watch. The pro of the polished cases, it looks beautiful, plays with the light, and it adds some luxury and some class to it, but it does show scratches. Talking about finishing, it's just gorgeous that you've got a brushed case back, because that's the bit that's going to be touching your skin and more likely to get rubbed and scratched. And you've even got a sapphire crystal on the back, so that doesn't get scratched up either. Really beautiful condition, and they've done a lovely job on this movement. And I've had this on the time grapher, and it's running at within COSC. You know, if you were to base it on that, it's plus minus 2 seconds a day. That is stunning, and it's kept that time accurately and reliably over this last 4 months. I've tested it 3 or 4 times. It just hasn't changed. It's really good to know you've got a regulated movement that's decorated as well. You've got some beautiful machining on the movement itself, and it plays with the light, and then you've got this stunning custom rotor with this machining effect that makes it look like it's just warping the light. It's stunning the way it plays with it. And then you've got these Geneva stripes on the actual rotor itself. It's just so lovely to look at. I just think it's beautiful to have that contrast of the gold against the silver of the case. It's really pretty, and the really deep etching and the black text of Sinn on the rotor as well is really, really attractive, and it just adds a really subtle depth of class. Another thing I like is it's an unusual watch. It's not your typical pilot watch. I said earlier, it's not like an IWC, it's not like Larco Flieger Type A or Type B dial watches. It's not got loads of chronograph features on it. It's effectively a very entry level but very functional pilot style watch with a countdown bezel. This is the next thing I really like. The countdown timers are fantastic, really useful. So you just go, I want to finish boiling an egg in 10 minutes. So you put 10 minutes round to the minute mark, and when it hits the loomed triangle at the 12, you know 10 minutes is up. Really easy, nice, easy, simple way to quickly refer to a bit of timekeeping. And I really enjoy that method of time measuring. The bezel insert itself is made of aluminium. I haven't had any marks on it yet, touch wood, but I'm a little bit anxious about it. But you know what? It's something you can always replace. But the thing I like about it, if you see some of the macros, the way aluminium bezel inserts play with the light and the texture they have even is absolutely gorgeous. And I think that compensates back again aesthetically to looking just right and making this look like a modern vintage watch by having the aluminium insert. It really has a whole different dimension of depth and just interest compared to a ceramic, which I do love, but I think would look out of place on this watch personally. And then the bezel is bi-directional and the feel is stunning. It's not like a normal ratcheting bezel. A normal ratcheting bezel watch has a real snickety clicky feel as you turn it. This feels like what it's got inside there is a little ball bearing, and as you turn it, it's a little pop each time. And it's not weird, it's just different to what we're used to with ratcheting bezels. And it's got a lovely consistent mechanical feel and a nice subtle muted sound to it. But it's such a consistent feel. There's a slight bit of bounce on the actual bezel as you see it moving. But then there's little screws here which are really interesting as well that they've put in. These effectively make this a captive bezel. It's the kind of thing you could knock and dink because it does protrude ever so slightly, this bezel, from the case. And what happens there is, to save any risk of this being knocked and pinging off, it's screwed in place. That's a very practical touch that's been engineered into this watch. Being a pilot watch, legibility is key. That's another thing that this watch excels at. I was concerned about the AR coating being on the outside and the underside. Underside's fine, but on the outside I was concerned it would get marks. But this touch wood has not had any marks on it yet. Why would you put AR on both sides? Reason being is you get a far better AR functionality, if you will, if you put it on the outside. And what happens is this watch, in the light, it just looks like the crystal is not there. It's disappeared. It's clear as well, so there's no change of color when it's playing with the light. And in many light conditions, especially in natural light, it really looks like the crystal is invisible. And then it really helps that matte dial absolutely pop with those white hands and indices. So it's so crisp and legible. And these needle hands with generous amounts of lume in there, just again, when the light drops a little bit, it just really pops. The lume lasts a bit better in the hands than it does the indices, but that's common for the fact these are printed indices. It's very clean aesthetic to the dial, especially with that very, very detailed minute track that goes around. And it's just perfect length of hands as well. All these details are very important to look at, such as the length of the hands, the positioning of everything on the dial. The day-date complication with the black date and date wheels helps it blend in with the dial. It doesn't actually make it look like it's been knocked off proportionally. Going back to this day and date complication, there's one thing that did niggle me a little bit about this watch is when I was setting the date and the day, the feel of the date and the day change when you're turning the wheel in that correct position when you've popped the crown out, it felt a little bit notchy and clunky. It didn't feel as snappy and responsive as I would like. But what is nice is it's got the super rapid changeover when it hits midnight. And this is a very versatile watch. Many different reasons. 200 meters water resistant. It's got the day-date complication. It's very easy to read. It's very monotone, so you can wear it with so many different things, different outfits, different occasions. You can obviously change the strap out, which I'll show you on a few of these a bit later on. But the good thing about that versatility is you're more likely to wear it on many different occasions. It's not dressy. It's not too scruffy. It's great that you could get this wet, put the appropriate strap on, not worry about it having any water ingress, and its size is perfect. I was going to show it on wrist. I think for many people a sweet spot is around 40 millimeters for a case size, and it's got a very nice, appropriately length lug to lug, so it sits beautifully on wrist. What do you guys think? Do you think this looks good on my 7¼ inch wrist? I obviously think it does because I'm biased, but I just like something that hits the sweet spots on so many different levels. I think this is very Germanic for that reason. That's another reason why I wanted a German watch, like the Swiss. They focus on the details, they get the proportions right very often. I would like a custom in-house movement, but you're going to be stepping into a different price bracket when you get movements like that in watches. You're looking at £4,000 to £5,000 for you to get something like an Omega, for example. Recapping some of the dislikes, I've had issues with the crown. It's not a major issue, but you've unscrewed the crown to do time adjust. There's a little pop when it comes out, and gently hand wind the movement, and you want to screw it back in. You can't just push it straight in and start screwing because it just doesn't bite properly. It feels like it's snagging. So you have to back it off to feel the little pop where it's caught the thread and then it winds in beautifully. That's unusual because I have that rarely on any watch. So it's a bit annoying that on one of my most expensive watches, I have to do that. I do have a little bit of anxiety about scratching this aluminium bezel one day, but you know what? I think at the end of the day, it's something that will add a bit of character, a bit of history, and show that it's been worn and loved. And I don't want to be too precious about it, but I'm still a bit nervous. One could say this could possibly be a bit of a dull watch. It's not got much colour to it. The good thing is though, if you don't like the black dial version, they do a white dial version, a green one, a blue one. There's different variation if you don't like this one, just being a bit too black and white. But I went for black and white because I think it's the classic, it's the most infamous of the Sinn 104's colourways. It's just straight to the point, does the job. That's why I love it. And the strap is actually very thick and chunky. I think it works really well stylistically with the watch. The colour is good quality leather, feels incredibly tough, and the stitching's very neat. It just all works very well, but it's very thick. And it took a little while to bed in, but now it fits like a dream. But you do get this cracking going on here with the edge where it's been sealed, because it's got such a thick edge, it's more likely to show that. But nothing's actually coming away or separating. It just looks a little bit scruffy, but the underneath is very nice, very soft and comfortable. But many of us like to upgrade our straps, so I'm going to show you a few here I've worn this watch on to show you how versatile this watch is, and it is definitely a strap monster. First up, this is the Pueblo. It's Italian Pueblo leather, which is a premium grade of leather, veg tanned, gorgeous finish, very satin, really good quality sealed edges, and it's got a water resistant leather treatment to the underside, so it's good for hot days or slightly wet drizzly days, but not for getting submerged in water. But it's just far more durable and resilient, and quick release as well. 20mm lug width is fantastic for versatility, for easy strap changes, and it's in proportion with the size of the watch as well. That's another important attribute. So this is a real favourite of mine. I do this in a few different colours. I do sell straps, by the way, that's my company, and do dark brown, this tan, and in black as well. So I think lovely amount of length to it, not too long, not too short, for an average wrist size and an average size watch. Plenty of scope there, and something a bit lighter in colour I wanted, so it just seemed to freshen the watch up a little bit. Now if you want to go really fresh, I'm going to show you this on an orange strap. Now why orange? Well, orange and black, they go so well together. Works really well. The Tempest is one of my best selling straps because it's got this lovely built-in curve to this FKM rubber. So it curves here and then it curves at the end. So when it wraps around your wrist, it's got a stunning wraparound effect. Because what happens is this part normally could flap about, but because it's got a built-in curve to it when it was molded, it always just tucks in so neatly around there. And then this part here immediately curves. It's quite chunky, so it works with this watch, which has these chunky lugs and a few chunky design elements. And it's great for, you could just jump in the pool with this, go to the beach, no problems, because it's really good grade of rubber. And you can enjoy that full versatility. Now, if you want to go for the full vintage pilot look, I've got one more to show you. This is a traditional style pilot strap. Again, this is really good quality soft Italian calf leather, really supple. There's no break-in period with this. I love these rivets. They are just design feature. They're not actually for anything practical like they used to be. I just think, again, it works really well with this style of watch because it is a pilot watch and this is a traditional style of strap. The right length, nice chunky buckle, brushed to match the underside of the watch this time. And these as well just help pick out all the little features of the watch. I can't think of much more to add to what I've shown you guys. So I have to be brutally honest with you. I've had this watch some time now, but for some reason I haven't bonded with it as much as I thought I would have yet. I think it's a slow grower. It's an amazing watch. I do love it, but it doesn't quite have that 100% X factor yet. But I think that's something that comes with these special watches over time. We bond with it, we have memories shared with that piece, and you can end up just saying, I wore that watch when I did this or I did that. That's the main reason why I bought this watch early, because I wanted to enjoy this year. It's been a really good year so far, and I wanted to wear it for as much of it as possible. Well, that's the excuse I told my wife. I thought, if I get it in January, that means by the time my birthday comes, I would have worn it loads. So maybe that's a good excuse to buy your 50th watch now. So what shall I get next? But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my self-indulgent birthday review of my birthday watch, which I got very early. And if you have, do check out some of my other videos. Hit the subscribe button, help me grow this channel, and I can share with you my watch journey and fun stuff along the way. It's been a pleasure sharing this one with you guys. It means a lot to me that you watch my videos, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.